Good afternoon, y'all. Shade Tree Joe here again. And today we're going to start working on the exhaust system for Kimmy's Jimmy. FedEx got here just not too terribly long ago. Now that's warm, a little humid, but whatever. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Not complaining. Anyway, got a box of goodies. So we're going to go ahead and start putting some pipe together. As we used to say in the barracks, we answered the duty phone, slinging pipe. Okay, so there's my goodies. 2.5 inch mild steel 16 gauge exhaust pipe, all ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and reuse the thrust chambered muffler right there, and I've got one to match it. So we'll go ahead and put those goodies to use, and probably just a simple turn down at the back end of the muffler, back somewhere underneath the end of the bed. So that's where we're at, and time to go ahead and get things together, get to work. I think I need to go get the welder out of the container. Okay, so first things first, I went ahead and I put the reducers on the collectors, and right now they're just dummied up in place. I will tell you that when I go ahead and do my collector gaskets, I'll go ahead and use dead soft aluminum for the gaskets. I found that I really hate replacing collector gaskets, and dead soft is about the only way to go. I mean, they will last indefinitely. The asbestos, fiber, paper gaskets, whatever, usually you're replacing those things about every 3 or 6 months. They just kind of burn out. And I remember on the wife's big block Chevy, I had zero issue with the dead soft aluminum gaskets burning out. That's been over, I was probably 10 or 15 years those gaskets were in the bottom of that truck, and never had an issue. But that being said, I'm done preaching. Here's where I have my issue. The original exhaust on this was a 2-into-1, and it came over the transmission cross member right there into that pancake style Kelly converter. And so I'm gonna have to go up from there. Over this guy, probably over the parking brake cable right there. And then the passenger side is factory notched out on the other side of the transmission cross member to go underneath. Also, when I do this, I always position my reducers with the 1 bolt up on top and 2 bolts at the bottom, because it's a whole lot easier to work on if you ever do have to change collector gaskets. Okay, so here we've got some creative trimming with some 90s. And we're going to go up and over and back that way, right like that. So I'm going to tack these guys so they hold their position, and then that will go ahead and run me down through the frame rail towards that hanger back there. So that'll work. Not horrible. Actually kind of tidy. None of that stupid flex pipe shit. So yeah, that'll work. And of course, no working on the truck will be complete without storm clouds starting to brew up. Not complaining, still need the rain. Got another 1/4 of an inch last night, but it seems like every afternoon, here we go. Welcome to spring in Oklahoma. I think it's probably those guys off in the distance there. That batch, that's probably gonna be the wet one that gets up here. That's fine, I don't mind. Okay, so here we are, one side, the driver's side, which was the difficult side, is pretty well done. I'm not going to show you the welds. I'll tell on myself, my welds look like crap today. Absolute hammered dog shit. Okay, number one, I was fighting the coating that they put on the pipe to keep it from rusting. Good old Chinesium. God only knows what kind of lube it was, but it wasn't exactly welder friendly. Problem number two, I had my wire speed much too high for what I was doing. This is a Lincoln HD 3200, so it's got 4 heat range settings. I'm running on B, which is the second to the lowest because I don't want to burn holes in my stuff. But like I said, my welds are not pretty today. But there we go. There we go. Let's get myself out the way here. The zip ties are holding it, the final assembly in place here at the back. Still got to tack the muffler in place and the downspout back here. But yeah, I mean, it's there. The big trick was getting over that transmission cross member. I got that accomplished. This side over here is not going to be so much of a challenge. Got a piece of the old pipe that I harvested to kind of match things up lengthwise, so I don't have to go to the auto parts store to get a piece of pipe. But that's where we're at. Okay, so I was talking about my welds looking like shit today. And they were. Trying to look through this nasty thing on top of everything else, including a dirty lens plate, I couldn't see shit. I mean, it was like a blind man trying to go ahead and look through peanut butter to try and go ahead and strike an arc. And that's all I could see was just the arc. I couldn't see the material I was working on. So, this is what my welds normally look like. Okay, I'm not a total hack. I don't throw boogers up, but today I was. I honestly could not see. You know, all the other bullshit came into play too. Yeah, that's fine, I get it. But this was the biggie. I couldn't see, and therefore I couldn't make a decent bead. Well, that's going to do it for today. The exhaust is in. It's not welded to the collectors, but everything else is welded up. I need to get some hangers rather than zip ties, and I might go ahead and use the 180s to make some turn downs at the back end of the mufflers. Otherwise I'll just buy some 45s. But yeah, it's starting to get dark out. You can see the sun setting in the background, and it's been a little hot this afternoon. So the $100 exhaust kit was well worth it. I'll show you what's left. That, my friends, is all that's left out of the 2 4-foot straights, the 2 45s, the what the hell else was in there? The 2 90s, and then the 2 180s. That's all that's left. This has all been welded together. It's not muffler clamps or anything like that. It's all welded up. So basically, once everything is in place, you're going to go ahead and unbolt it at the collector and unbolt the hangers and drop it out one per side. Like I said, I'm probably going to go ahead and take these 180s and make those into 45s or turn downs or something like that, and I'll use those. But yeah, I got my money's worth out of it, and it's duals all the way to the front of the rear axle, which is all the further I planned on going anyway. So there it is, the sun's going down, breaking below those clouds, and that's gonna be it for the day. So yeah, I'm gonna call it. I'm done for the day. I've got some appointments to get to tomorrow. Got to take Kim on her knee surgery follow-up, or correction on that. Not the knee surgery follow-up, the meeting with the physical therapist. The knee surgery follow-up's not until, I think, next week. Anyway, yeah, so taking advantage of being stuck at home for the time being. Check that out. Somebody's gonna get a little rain shower tonight, at least until the sun goes down. And then over yonder is just a little hint of a rainbow. So yeah, somebody's getting some rain. It missed us today, which is fine. I think Saturday's supposed to be the big day this week. Also get these little butterflies hanging out down here. For some reason they like me. I don't know why, but yeah, they all kind of like to hang out down here. There's one. I mean, I'll walk through out here in the front yard and I'll get swarmed by them underneath the trees. I guess they like hanging out with Shade Tree Joe. God, one more time in English. I guess they like hanging out with Shade Tree Joe. I don't know. I can't explain it. But yeah, there they are. They'll swarm you. It's crazy. Okay, so there's the driver's side pipe all done up. Welded with my ugly ass welds, because, you know, it looks like frickin' Stevie Wonder had frickin' peanut butter on his face shield while he's welding. But hey, there it is. There's my funky curve that goes around the transmission cross member. But the beauty of it is I can go ahead and take this all out as one piece. Also, I can go ahead and remove the transmission cross member without having to go ahead and drop the exhaust to do it. So anyway, there's this side. It's all welded up now. I just got to put it back in the truck once I make some brackets. But gee, surprise, surprise, I got thunderstorms passing through again. Okay, so there it is. There's what it sounds like, idling under its own power now. Idle's a little bit high, but once it goes into gear, it moves backwards on its own. So there's that. I've still got a little bit more tuning to do, but I'm starting to get fresh gas up into the carburetor now, and it's starting to sound a lot better. I think that was my biggest issue. There was 2 gallons of fresh gas I put in it the other day, and the rest of it was just the old nasty gas that didn't pump out of the tank. So there's that. Now it's got about 8 or 10 gallons of fresh gas in it to dilute the nasty stuff. And it's sounding a lot better. Okay, so there we have it. For the first time, likely since 2015, Kimmy's Jimmy has moved under its own power, both forwards and backwards. So there's that. And no, I didn't have a tripod set up, so no, you didn't get to see it. I've got to go ahead and hook up the electric choke, because I think that's part of my idle issue, going up and down, up and down. It's not hooked up at all right now. And I got to let it cool back off and build some zip tie looms for the spark plug wires, because every time I go ahead and get them away from the headers, they seem to go ahead and fall back onto the headers. And I'm not going to go ahead and burn up perfectly at the spark plug wires because I'm too lazy to do something about it. So anyhow, I'm going to let it sit and cool. In the meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and move Ethel up onto the slab so I can go ahead and address the rear brakes, because it seems like they are not working at all. so there it is. One tooth made all the difference in the world. Idle's a lot smoother now. Yeah, the vacuum could be better. Still got some valves to adjust on that. I mean, you can hear them tapping just a little bit. When I went ahead and adjusted the valve lash on them, I just went ahead and turned the nut down just until the rattle went away, and I think you're supposed to get like a quarter turn pass. It's been a while. So anyhow, the valves are still a little bit loose. Vacuum's not horrible at this point. The idle is smooth and consistent now, so I'm happy with that. I don't think it's a carburetor issue at this point. I don't think it's a fuel issue at this point. I said that the timing seems pretty happy. You can go ahead and rev the engine. It doesn't want to go ahead and try and hiccup before you go ahead and start to accelerate. So I think I'm good there. Next thing I need to address is the brakes. Vacuum for the brakes isn't hooked up yet because I wanted to make sure I didn't have other vacuum issues. So, you know, one thing at a time. Matter of fact, okay, so yeah, the vacuum for the transmission is probably not hooked up at the modulator, but then again, that's all imported vacuum, so it doesn't make a difference anyway right now. It's not going to affect vacuum at idle, so there's that. But anyway, I think we're good. Okay, so like I said, there's no bogging or hesitation now. Coming off idle, you go ahead and you stab the gas, the engine revs right away. Likewise, I just shut the motor off. It didn't try to diesel or spit or backfire through the carburetor at all. And I've got plenty of adjustment on the distributor at the vacuum canister. I'll show you that real quick. See, so there we are. We're no longer up against the intake manifold. We're not against the valve cover. We're not against the firewall. Okay, so like I said, all that's good now. I need to go ahead and set up a tripod and show you. Yeah, it not only does it run, but it drives. Unfortunately, until I do something with the vacuum for the brakes and see if the brakes are there, see if the calipers are frozen in place, or if it's just because there's no vacuum and it's been sitting for so damn long that things just don't want to quite try and slow down. I don't want to go ahead and get carried away. Yeah. Driveway is only 600 foot, and then there's the cross street at the end of it. So yeah, I want to be able to stop, and I don't want to get going too fast. And so far, I've driven down the driveway. I drove about 300 feet out, and then went ahead back 300 foot back and parked it. That was the other day while I was still kind of troubleshooting the carburetor and some of these other issues. It is what it is. This truck's gonna be running and driving probably within the next week. It's running and driving now, but I mean, I should have brakes by the next week if everything goes right. I've got some other stuff coming up this weekend, and it's getting really hot and really fargin' nasty. Summer is here with a vengeance. So happy summer solstice. Yeah, it's June 21st. So longest day of the year, or the most daylight of the year. My favorite day of the year, well, my most and least favorite day of the year, because from this point forward the days start getting shorter, and I'm not a fan of that. But that's another story for another time. Anyhow, this is Shade Tree Joe. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up now that we know that we've got a truck that does go ahead and start and run pretty much like it should. I mean, I think the timing is reasonably good without throwing a timing gun on it. For the most part, I've always timed my stuff by ear anyway, so between that and the vacuum gauge, it looks like at this point, until I go ahead and fiddle with the valve some more, 12 inches of vacuum at idle is about all we're gonna get out of it. But again, it's not a stock cam. I would expect it would have been a little bit higher. I forget what the duration is on this, or I'm sorry, the lobe center line, because that's what tends to affect vacuum more than anything else. I don't think it might be 110. Doesn't have a whole lot of chop to it.
it may be 112 degree center line, so it should be idling about 16 inches, but again, there's valves to adjust. So that will cause a little bit of the issue as well, and you know, little stuff here and there. So anyway, it's not horrible, it's not great, but you know, it's a reasonably healthy motor. So vacuum does go ahead and come right up as soon as you come off idle. So there's that. But anyway, like I said, we're going to wrap this up for today. This is Shade Tree Joe. Y'all be safe, be good to each other, and we'll see you the next go around. Remember to like, share, subscribe, all that happy horse stuff. You know how it goes. And for the 108 of you that have subscribed, thank you. I do appreciate it. This is not done for profit. I'm not monetized in any way, shape, or form. I just do this for fun and entertainment. So if you're entertained, great. If you're not, well, you know, there's lots of other channels. Not being a smart ass, but okay, yeah, I'm being a smart ass. Have a good one. Be safe. We'll see you.